we often come across career counseling and career mentoring. So could you elaborate the difference between those two? Like what is career counseling versus what is career mentoring?
Why can't we find more Ramanujans in India anymore? Right? There is a reason for it.
Saurabh, I think you have studied a lot of career mentoring / counseling models outside India, right? So I would like to understand from you how these career mentoring and career counseling concepts are different in India compared to other countries, and which countries are doing well.
Well, fancy jobs are good. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. But then you can do so much more than just, make money for a big corporation.
So with this automation and AI changing the job landscape, right? So what sectors do you see growing in the next decade? And which skills do you believe will be the most in demand, which students and the aspirants should start learning? So folks, you have tuned into TGV and hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series, the world's only quadrilingual podcast at this moment of recording. And we are trying to embark into multiple languages as we speak. And here we embark on transformative conversations for a better future. And we want to simplify and amplify your journey to success. I'm your host, Navin Samala, dedicated to making the world a better place by bringing you wisdom through valuable discussions with experts designed to simplify and amplify your success. And thank you so much for tuning in. Folks, we are joined by Saurabh Nanda, who is a passionate career consultant, and he has left his American IT job in 2012 to dive headfirst into the problem of career guidance in India and the world. Today, he has 3 copyrighted and first of their kind models, and he is seen as a sought after thought leader in the education sector in India and across the globe. And he is also awarded as an international youth mentor, and he gets featured in the media regularly, and is also a multi-time TEDx speaker. And today we are going to have an interesting topic for the discussion, and the topic is unlocking India's future. Of course, I would say the world's future. And also we'll cover a few nuances of career mentorship, artificial intelligence, and most importantly, the jobs of tomorrow. But before we get started, here's an exciting twist as always. Let us tickle our guest brain. So, Saurabh, get ready for a rapid fire round of random words. I'll mention a few, and I would love to hear the first thing that comes to your mind in response without thinking much. If you're ready, let's get started.
Hello, I'm Steve Ahern, one of the judges of the Asia Podcast Awards. I'm interrupting this episode to let you know that you're listening to an award-winning podcast. This podcast won its category in the 2024 Podcast Awards, so you know you're listening to quality. Enjoy your listening experience, and congratulations to the team who created this award-winning podcast for you.
Excellent. Let's get doing this. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure is mine, and let's get started, Saurabh. The first word is curiosity.
Very important. The most important thing.
Invention.
It's going to be a byproduct eventually. So,
Future.
you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, I think this will be your next favorite word. Education.
Education is the foundation for everything.
Okay, and here comes a lighter one. Movie.
You can't live without them, and sometimes you want to live without them.
Career.
It's an interesting decision-making process.
Interesting decision-making process. Wow. Universe.
Within me and without me.
Wow. Mentor.
Someone who should have been there, but of late we are seeing less and less of them.
Role model.
Somebody who would really motivate you to be better.
Okay, wonderful. And here comes the last one. Success.
Success is an illusion, and you have to define it on your own terms.
I love it. Success is an illusion, and its definition also changes from time to time. Right. So what we see as success in 20s versus 30s is going to change. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love it. And thank you so much for participating in the first rapid fire round. You heard it right, because there is one more rapid fire round toward the end of the episode. So stay tuned. And Saurabh, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Naveen. I'm so happy to be here with you. And I think this recording, like our previous recording, is going to be equally fun. Thank you so much for having me here. And let me also share that, it has been a real privilege to see what, Naveen, you're up to with the guiding voice and all the other things that you've been doing. We've discussed things off and also, off the record as well, and it's been inspiring to say the least.
Yeah, likewise, the feeling is mutual. And when I got to know about you and your profile, right, I was super impressed. And like I said earlier, like there are certain things which will overlap in terms of our passion to make a difference and all, right? So just that we have chosen different paths, that's it. And for those of you who can understand Hindi, there is already Saurabh's Hindi episode out there on TGV Hindi. And we have had amazing conversation with Saurabh where we dived into similar topic, but we have covered a few more nuances as well. So I strongly recommend you to check out that episode, and we will publish the episode link in the show notes or episode description as well. And on that note, Saurabh, let's get the ball rolling, and we'll begin with
Yes.
your success mantra. So please share with our audience the top three things that have contributed to your success so far.
I think, first of all, I think I've been born in privilege, which means, I don't really have a lot of financial obligations to people, don't really have a lot of, responsibilities to take care of. So that allowed me to experiment a lot with life, choose a big problem to solve and then go after it with all my energy, all my might, because my family was there to support me. So I think privilege is one thing. And this is exactly what I tell a lot of my mentees also, that if you have those obligations, it's great, you do what's needed. But
Yeah.
if you are born into privilege and if you can actually uh, you know try and solve a big problem, please go ahead and do that rather than going for a fancy job. Because, well, fancy jobs are good, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but then you can do so much more than just make money for a big corporation. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, as I said, support of my family. My parents, my brother, they've always encouraged all my experiments. They've always said that, okay, go for it. If you think this is the right thing to do right now, go for it. You have our support, and we'll figure it out as it happens. So I think that was extremely important for me. And the third, I would say, to have amazing people coming into my lives in the form of friends, in the form of colleagues, in the form of mentors, who always, even though we might be talking after 10 years, they always have encouraging words to say for me. They're like, we have been following your journey, and it gives us immense pleasure that you are doing this. So some of them, have even said that they live vicariously through the work that I do, that some of the things that they wanted to do but were not able to, I am doing those things. So beautiful people in my life, and that is the third reason for whatever success I have achieved so far.
Yeah. So the very first thing that you mentioned, right? Privilege. I think not many people really acknowledge that in public, and we take things for granted. And I love your modesty in terms of admitting that. And yeah, also one other thing I need to really congratulate you, because normally when everything is fancy around us and when we have enough money and enough support, people tend to get into that mundane 9 to 5 job, and they try to adjust. Okay, in the sense, let the show running, right? And but
Yeah.
honestly, looking into your journey, right, you have really took a U-turn in terms of, okay, no, this is not for me. I have a much bigger problem to solve, right? That is what is really inspiring to me personally, Saurabh, and thank you so much for sharing that. And let's go to the next standard question, which is, who is your guiding voice?
Ah, well, initially, when I was younger, I used to think, like a lot of other young people, that you read very famous people and learn from their journeys, and slowly and slowly you will understand different nuances, because life is so complex that you need a guiding voice at every different stage of life, every different turn. You need somebody else to tell you how to navigate that turn. But as I grew older, as I read a lot, as I saw so many other journeys, what I realized was actually you don't need different guiding voices, because the message remains the same. The message for every turn, every decision that you take remains the same. And that message I have seen is the most beautifully conveyed in the Bhagavad Gita.
Mhm.
And a lot of people actually misunderstand what it says. For example, the most famous statement which comes out of the Bhagavad Gita is, you do the work and don't worry about the result. Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually, that's the misinterpretation. What the real sentence or what the real message is: you do the work and you will never feel the need for a result.
Oh wow.
The journey itself is the result, and that is what the message is. You do the work what the universe is presenting in front of you, and you don't have to worry about anything else. So that has been my guiding voice for the past few years. And I think beyond that, there is very few other things which have actually kind of created an impact at that level.
Wow. So powerful message actually. So journey itself is the result, and it is not just about contributing yourself and expecting results at the end, and also not about worrying about the results as such. I think this is the first time I'm coming across such a powerful interpretation, and thank you so much for sharing with our global audience, Saurabh. And let's move forward. So you came back to India in 2012, and after that you have got into your own entrepreneurial venture. So, as an entrepreneur, you might have learned your own fair share of lessons, right? So, share with us the toughest lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I have realized as an entrepreneur is I never really wanted to be an entrepreneur. I moved into it because it was required. And it's the same with leadership as well. You don't choose to be a leader. The situation comes up and you have to stand up and you become a leader, right? Entrepreneurship happened similarly. There were certain problems that nobody else was solving. And I was at the right place at the right time. And then I realized, okay, I can solve these problems because I have a certain skill set, certain knowledge base. And that's how I became an entrepreneur. So the toughest, lesson for me, or toughest thing that I learned, was to accept that now I'm an entrepreneur, because I was never really ready to be an entrepreneur, and that was the first and the biggest lesson. Once you embrace that lifestyle, once you embrace that hustling culture, that then there are no work timings, there are no weekends. Your vacation and your work, they will overlap a lot. So once you embrace that life, and the people in your life also understand that part of you, um, if you can manage that well, I think that is an entrepreneur's true success, because an entrepreneur will keep on solving problems. They might become billionaires. Even then, they will not stop hustling. And
Yeah.
a true entrepreneur, even if he does not make 100 rupees, he will still, because he will still continue hustling, because the real, the real juice of it all, the real, I would say, result of entrepreneurship is the hustle, is the adrenaline, is the dopamine that you get out of the hustle. So that's what I have learned. That's when I accepted being an entrepreneur. Accepting an entrepreneurship lifestyle is very important if you're going to be an entrepreneur.
So it is giving me time to introspect myself about the guiding voice journey after having started this like 4.5 years ago. Like every word that you mentioned, right, I can resonate with you. I
Excellent,
love
Naveen. Maybe in one of these days,
it.
I should take your interview, and let's discover your journey, especially in the last 5 odd years.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to do that. And let's move forward and start talking about today's core topic, right? So before we talk more about India's future and world's future, let's start with the basics. So there are two different aspects of career. Like when it comes to being coached or being mentored or being counseled, right? We often come across career counseling and career mentoring. So could you elaborate the difference between those two? Like, what is career counseling versus what is career mentoring?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think why I like this question a lot is because it took me quite a bit of time to understand the difference myself.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that difference, I understood the difference only because of the experience. Now, I'm an engineer, so a lot of engineers are inherently lazy. So we like to do things in the shortest possible time, and then we're done with it. Okay, I made the product, and now I'm done. And that's what I thought the service industry would be similar, right? But it's not. So once I learned how to counsel people based on psychometric assessments, and I was pretty good at it, the counseling was very effective. The feedback received after the counseling was effective. And I was like, okay, my job is done. I have solved somebody's problem. This young person will now go forth and do what's required. But then when we followed up with them 6 months later, 12 months later, and we saw that their career decisions were still based on the same herd mentality and societal expectations that was troubling them before they came to us for counseling. The career decisions had not changed. Even after the counseling they had accepted, yes, what you're telling us is very good, but they still went back to the same career decisions. And we tried understanding what is the reason for that. The reason for that is, in a few counseling sessions, you might get the message, you might understand it. But when you need to implement, when you need to actually take the career decision, you still look at people around you. You still take advice from people around you. And those people might not change their advice. They might still be telling you to do the same things as what is said or as what is expected out of you because of society, because of herd mentality, because of trodden path that you go for engineering, medicine, and you'll be successful. And a young person, 15, 16, 17 years old, that young person is not capable of discerning what is good advice and what is bad advice at that moment. Now, when we saw that even after counseling, they're still making the same career decision mistakes, then we realized, okay, we need to handhold. It is not a small process because you're dealing with a human being.
Right.
This is not a software product. This is not a transaction. This is not a sales cycle. And that's when career counseling slowly evolved into career mentorship, wherein we are meeting with our clients regularly, solving their small little doubts on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. Because small little doubts for me, they might be small, but for them, they are huge.
Right.
They're not able to overcome those small, problems. And that is the difference between career counseling and career mentorship. Career counseling is a one-time small period engagement, whereas career mentorship is a longer engagement, helping the young person or any person to make the right career decisions, overcoming all the small little obstacles that come along the way.
Yep. That is clear. And Saurabh, I think you have studied a lot of career mentoring slash counseling models outside India, right? So I would like to understand from you how these career mentoring and career counseling concepts are different in India compared to other countries, and which countries are doing well.
Mhm. So, generally speaking, there is a very clear difference between how the West thinks and how I would say um, cultures like India, which have a long tradition, long history, and they're based on familiar, or I would say they're based on small units, family units, because the decisions made in our cultures are based on the acceptance of everyone in the family. It's not an individual decision,
Right.
right? Whereas in the West, it is very much an individual decision. Now, the basic difference over there and over here is this, that by the age of 11, 12, a lot of young people in the West, in US, Europe, Australia, and nowadays to a lot larger extent, even Japan and South Korea, they will start working on their own. They will start taking part-time jobs. They will start earning money. They will start understanding how to spend money, save money, what to do with it, how to plan their life, how to plan their jobs, how to plan their work at a young age of 10, 11. Whereas in India, um, most students are sheltered till the age of 18. In fact, in some cultures in India, students, especially I would say those who are involved in careers related to government jobs or academics, they are sheltered till the age of even 30, right?
Right.
That means they don't have to do anything apart from study. They have never understood how to use money, how to, save money, etc. Why? Because the family is taking care of it. So they are sheltered, which means they're not able to make individual decisions. So when we do career counseling interventions with somebody from the West, we are telling them this is exactly who you are. These are the kind of things which will be good for you. And they said, yes, this makes sense. And the next day they will start making decisions accordingly. Whereas when you come to India or the Middle East or North Africa or Southeast Asia, and when you give the counseling, you're not giving the counseling only to the child. We make sure that the parents are present in the meeting. So because the counseling is equally important for them as it is important for the young person. Because again, when they go back home, they're going to sit together and then make a huge decision. So that is the major difference,
Yeah.
between career counseling in India and abroad. I'll give you a small example. I spent almost a year in Denmark in 2016, and I was working with a small college over there where 95% of the students in that college in Copenhagen were from Nepal, Bangladesh, and India.
Oh.
95%.
95.
Now, the professors over there, they were not able to understand what do we do, because we are trying to teach them in our way, but somehow that is not going across, right? Professors were brilliant, the facilities were brilliant, but the students were not yet ready to understand. Why? Because of cultural differences. And that is where I created a small intervention. Also, I told them, okay, these are the things, sometimes you need to step beyond your limit in order to tell them what to do, because they are expecting the teacher to tell them exactly what to do.
Yeah.
They are not going to make decisions on their own. And when you ask them to do something, what they're doing is they're calling back home in Kathmandu, in Pokhara, or in Dhaka, and they're asking that this is what my professor has said. Should I do this or not? And obviously, people at home, they cannot understand the Danish concept, the Danish context, so they are not able to help them much. So the children, the young students are very confused over there.
Right.
So this exercise was very successful in that college, and that shows the clear distinction between our approaches to career decision making.
Yeah. I got it. And you have pioneered career guidance models and also mentored youth across various platforms, right? So now that you mentioned about a few gaps and few differences, I would say, in terms of how career counseling is approached in India. So I would like to understand how your models uniquely cater to India's need and rest of the world, and how are you addressing the challenges?
Right. So India is a land of gurus, and in our culture also, every part of our culture is based on some approach where guru is a central figure, right?
Correct.
Unfortunately, today in India, our gurus are not equipped to answer complex career queries. So when they're not equipped to answer complex career queries, then they are relying on their own experiences to give guidance. Their own experience might not be enough to give guidance to a young person's questions, because the world is so complex. So what my models are doing is they're standardizing this process, wherein any educator, any guru to whom a young person approaches for questions, they can use that model, and then they can approach their career decision making in a very qualified manner. It is scientific. It is free of bias. It is free of cultural bias, regional bias, language bias, and it helps in delivering the same quality of guidance to every student, every young person, irrespective of whatever their background will be, but will be focused completely on their personal circumstances as well. Because in India, again, if there is a girl child, then suddenly the perspective about career decision making changes for the family. If there's a male child, the perspective changes completely, right? So all those nuances are being catered to in these models. The other major thing about career decision making is it's a new science. We need to understand. Even psychology itself is what 130, 140 years old, all right, as a science. So it's a relatively new science, which means in India, it has yet to be understood deeply. And A lot of the factor for that is because there is very little research being done around this, and we are one of the very few people in the country who are doing research. In fact, in a couple of weeks, I'm delivering a paper on giftedness. Around 1 to 3% of students in India are gifted. That means they have extraordinary minds. Like, why isn't there any, why can't we find more Ramanujans in India anymore? Right? There is a reason for it. So we are doing that research so that we can help those students. That research is something that we provide in our models so that every educator has a very scientific basis. And when there are counter questions, they can tell them that this is science, this is based on research, this is based on this data. And that is why we are telling you this, not because we feel that this is what you should do.
Yeah, got it. And let's move forward with my next one. So, how do you foresee the role of career counselors evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? I think there will be lucrative career options for those who want to venture into that. But what new competencies will they need to develop, especially in the phase of AI and emerging technologies?
Oh, absolutely. In 2022, we launched our first AI career counselor beta version. In fact, in 2022, we developed our own LLM because at that time, ChatGPT 2 was there and it was not very, powerful. And we needed an LLM, so we developed our own. Um, when we gave that counselor to people to use, students and educators, we thought the students will love it. Students will really really start using it, and that's the beauty of IT products. Till the time you do the market testing, you don't know who's going to use it. So the students loved it, they gave very good feedback, but they were not using it. Why? Because they only felt that they needed answers for career decisions after exams or before exams and something like that. Otherwise the rest of the year they will not use it. But there was this group of people who kept on using the AI model a lot. And those were other career counselors because they had to solve career queries of people on a daily basis. Now, just imagine this seems a little illogical that there is a young person who's there are a lot of young people who are asking career questions on a daily basis to a human being, but they're not ready to ask those questions to an AI career counselor. That means career counselors will always be needed, even though we have, general purpose AI also coming into the picture. Why? Because at the end of the day, when I'm making a career decision, it's a very big decision for me. And I want another human being to transfer that confidence into me that, yes, it's okay if I'm going for hotel management. It's absolutely okay if I want to go to merchant navy and so on and so forth. 90% of the queries can be answered by AI, but the last 10%, there's a career counselor needed for that. Some statistics tell us in India that even if one career counselor is supposed to counsel, let's say 200 kids per year, even then we need around 15 lakh career counselors. Recently, Government of India in this budget announced 1.4 lakh crore budget for skill development. And out of that budget, there is a vacancy of around 7,000 career counselors, which different states in India have to hire. So now it's a government job. Career counselor is now a government job. So imagine the lakhs of schools, government schools and private schools, and every school needing a career counselor. Imagine thousands of colleges. There's some, I don't know what, I think one estimate was some 40 to 50,000 colleges are there in India. So, and I'll have to recheck it, but the number is huge. Each college needs a career counselor.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, career counselor, we also need mental wellness counselors, we need guidance counselors, and they all need to have some understanding of career decision making. That is the scope, what we are headed towards. If there are less jobs in the manufacturing sector, in the agriculture sector because of automation and AI, where do you think the other jobs will come up? They will come at mentorship. In my personal opinion, Naveen, I think by 2040, half of the world's population will be involved in some kind of mentorship role. You already have a mentor for nutrition, for fitness, for astrology, for your relationships, your um, career guidance, and similarly, you will need more mentors for other things.
Sounds interesting. Now, let me flip the question, and this will be the same question, but from the students or from the aspiring job holders' perspective. So, with this automation and AI changing the job landscape, right? So, what sectors do you see growing in the next decade? And which skills do you believe will be the most in demand, which students and the aspirants should start learning?
Right. Let me start with a small anecdote. So, I was in Japan in 2019, and I was counseling this very smart young man from Colombia, the country.
Mhm,
Right
mhm,
now, he, just like every other person, maybe he did his engineering from the US, from a top
mhm,
institute, and then after that, I think he worked for a year in engineering. He didn't like it, and then he also joined me in the same program in Japan. And then he asked me, "What will I do after this program?" He was excellent in guiding people. He was excellent in mentoring, facilitating innovation. And I said, you need to be in a place where you can hone these skills. You can really develop these skills because the job that you're looking for does not exist today, but it will exist 5 years down the line. And
mhm.
that's what he did. And today, after doing a particular job, he started his own thing. That much confidence he's received now. What I'm trying to tell you is there are jobs which people are going to go for. Today's students don't even know the jobs that they're going to go for because the jobs keep changing. Every
Yep.
5 years, there are new jobs. So, the biggest skill that any young person needs in today's world is complex problem solving, critical reasoning, communication skills, empathy. Empathy and communication skills are needed to understand the problem. Critical reasoning and complex problem solving is needed in order to solve that problem. So, if you develop these skills, you will be successful in whatever job you're going into, because more and more jobs will demand these skills. More and more jobs want entrepreneurs to be their team members. More and more organizations are looking for people who can solve unknown problems, or who can approach uncertain situations. And that is where the word VUCA also comes into the picture. Our world is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous, so we need people who can manage all these things. So those are the most important skills that are needed. As far as sectors are concerned, in a country like India, which is a middle income economy, which is growing and growing at a good rate, so there's a lot of disposable income that a lot of Indians have right now. And that disposable income is going to go into consumption, which means we will need better healthcare facilities, better tourism and hospitality facilities. We will need better infrastructure. So there will be a lot of jobs in healthcare, in hospitality, in the infrastructure sector. And if you are somebody who's involved in any of this or thinking of getting involved, please go ahead. The future is really, really bright.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a valid point because unlike thinking about conventional careers, I think it is better to get into some of those paths which are not traveled much, and also by avoiding this herd mentality, right? I think that's a great suggestion. And Saurabh, this has been fabulous conversation so far, but it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. So, which means we are going to kick off the second rapid fire round. If you are ready, let's get started.
Let's go for
Okay.
it.
All right. Superb. So here comes the first bullet. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Ah, I think the billboard will say, don't take the shortcut.
Don't take the shortcut. And today, incidentally, I was reading a newspaper, and again, right, when we are an entrepreneur, we always keep thinking about our future. Why are we, why are we not getting results so fast, or so many things come into our mind? And today, again, incidentally, I came across this quote by Epictetus, and it says great things take time, right? So that is one thing which I always keep reminding. So this resonates with what you mentioned.
Beautiful.
Okay. And can you describe yourself in just one word?
One of my friends described me in one word, and I can't get over that. He called me Rangila when I was in class 10. So I think I'll go with that.
Okay. And your favorite TEDx talk that you have ever delivered?
I've delivered a couple of them. Incidentally, one was around careers. That came out very well. The recording was very nice, but I actually enjoyed the other one more, wherein I'm asking young people to, start solving problems and stop waiting for other people to come and solve problems for them. It's about sustainability. It's about tech for good. So I like that talk better, but the recording is very bad. unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I haven't checked that. I checked the other one related to mentoring. Okay, good one. And what is your go-to stress buster?
Ah, I would say that's an interesting one because recently I think travel has been one of those things, and I love traveling with my team. We keep planning, a few days retreat because we work completely remote, completely online. So it's very important for us to meet every 2, 3 months to have that bond. So in the mountains again, we are going, and that would be my stress buster. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Love it. And a book that has influenced your thinking other than Gita.
I read The Fountainhead when I was in college.
Hmm.
By Ayn Rand. It completely changed my perspective about things. It talked about the purity of work and purpose. A lot of people mistake it with capitalism. It does talk about capitalism, but what it really talks about is purpose, and it can
Mhm.
be very spiritual if you look at that book from that perspective.
And what is one advice you give to every student you mentor?
Um, it's okay.
It's
Don't
okay
worry.
now.
It's okay.
Okay. And what is the dream destination for a vacation?
uh, I think the destination doesn't matter anymore. It's the company that matters more.
Wow.
So my dream destination is the destination that my favorite people would love to spend time with me.
Love it. And your proudest achievement so far?
I think my proudest achievement was with a team based out of Turkey, and I was mentoring them, and we developed a product on how to help dyslexic students using AI, and how to help parents of dyslexic students manage them better. A lot of After the project was completed and after they started building the app, a lot of them came back and told me that they have stopped thinking of joining Mang companies
Mhm.
and they are ready to do something to create impact in the world. So I think that was one of the recent proudest moments for me.
Super. Congratulations on that. And that brings me to the last one for the second rapid fire round. What is one electronic gadget that you would like to see or invent yourself?
I want to develop teleportation device. For whatever reason, I feel very impatient when I'm traveling. I'm like, why is it taking 5 hours from me to go to Delhi from Jalandhar? Why is it taking 2 hours getting stuck in traffic in Delhi or Bombay? Why can't I just snap my fingers and be there in a second? And even for this podcast, for that matter, what if I could be there in person in Hyderabad with you and record this? So
Yeah.
teleportation device.
Wow, that would have been amazing. I think probably we might see teleportation happening, or maybe a miniature version of it happening in our lifetime. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And that was such an amazing second rapid fire round. Let's flip back to the mainstream. So, Saurabh, you have spoken multiple times on TEDx platforms and also in media about career guidance and youth mentoring. So, what is one key message that you would like to share with India's youth, and for that matter, world's youth also today, especially those unsure about their future career paths?
All right. This is a message that I actually, delivered in that TEDx talk also. I told them that India probably has half of the world's problems
Yeah.
in every sphere, half of the world's problems. Now, it is up to us whether we take that and become desperate and hopeless. Oh my God, I'm stuck in a country which has half of the world's problems. Or you look at it from a perspective, oh my God, I am in a country where half of the world's opportunities are.
Hmm.
And if I solve any of these problems, it might not only solve problems in India, but across the world. So I want all the young people to think about your circumstances like that. Stop thinking, oh my God, my senior's got a job, but I'm not getting a job. Well, if you are at a good place, if you're a place of privilege, if you've learned something, use that skill to solve a problem, and you will never look for a job. You will give jobs to others.
So powerful. And this has been amazing conversation. And I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, Saurabh. And we need to do many more episodes and help people take right decisions and pursue their dream jobs. And definitely, I would love to have you again on the show. And how is your experience being hosted on The Guiding Voice?
It has been amazing. I think, whatever I have had, all the respect I had for TGV, the guiding voice earlier, because I used to listen to a lot of conversations. It has doubled now because of the depth of the questions that you asked, Naveen. And you deliver it in such a nice, light-hearted, very, very digestible manner that it's fun to not only listen and watch, but it's fun to be here as a guest. And thank you so much again for having me here. All my best wishes to you and all the listeners. I hope this episode added a lot of value to you, and all my best wishes.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. And that means a lot. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and making it to the recording today, though you are traveling. And I really appreciate it. And so, friends, that was our episode with Saurabh Nanda. And before we jump into the fun trivia section, we have a quick request in case if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, please share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, the guiding voice. So spread the knowledge and help others grow just like you. Now, let's hop into the trivia segment. So when we talk about career mentoring, people think that it is all about putting somebody on the right path or giving them multiple options. But I'm presenting you 2 less known facts about career mentoring. The first one is career mentoring improves mental health. Yes, you heard it right. Many people associate career mentoring solely with professional growth. But research has shown that it is going to positively impact mental health. Because guidance from a mentor can reduce anxiety and also confusion about career paths, especially during transitions or job searches, which fosters confidence and also clarity. A mentor support can alleviate the stress of uncertainty, which is particularly beneficial for students or young professionals who are struggling to find their path, especially when there is tremendous pressure from family as well as peers and also societal pressure. And second fact is about reverse mentoring benefits mentors. Yes, you know, while career mentoring is often seen as a one-way transfer of knowledge, nowadays there is a lot of emphasis on reverse mentoring, and which is picking up a lot of steam. And it is an emerging practice where younger mentees help mentors who are typically senior professionals in terms of gaining insights into new trends, technologies, and also mindsets. This dynamic benefits mentors by keeping them current and adaptable, particularly in fields rapidly changing due to digital transformation or generational shifts. In fact, I have observed a lot of benefits in the IT industry, the industry which I belong to. And in fact, we hire a lot of interns. And when we assign them particular activities and all, we make sure that at least senior professionals are spending at least 2 to 3 hours in terms of downloading content from the interns as well. And that is yielding a lot of positive results. And folks, that's it from my side from the trivia perspective. Likewise, if you have experienced some benefits related to career mentoring, being a mentor as well as mentee, do let us know. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there, or if you found this episode on some audio platforms or social media platforms, you can comment there as well. And I would love to review your comments. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So until next time, take care, stay inspired, and remember the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.